AEW Dynamite results the 2nd of January 2023. Lots of title implications and a rubber match between two of the biggest stars in the company as you heads back to Ohio. UTBS title, Jade Cargill, C, vs Red Velvet. Bryan Danielson vs Timothy Thatcher. Konosuke Takeshita vs Brian Cage. Hangman Page vs Jon Moxley. UTNT title, Darby Allin, C, vs Samoa Joe. Make sure to keep refreshing the page as the most recent results are below. Dynamite the 2nd of January 2023. Live from the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. No surprise, we're not waiting around as Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and Taz are interrupted by Wild Thing. Match number 1. Jon Moxley W/Wheeler Yuta and Papa Mox vs Hangman Page. Page doesn't even make it to the ring as Moxley meets him on the ramp and it's on. Moxley puts Page through a couple of guardrails as both men now fight through the crowd. Running boot to a seated Moxley in the crowd, and Page is clearly not the favorite tonight, as Dayton is just an hour from Moxley's hometown. Moxley locks in a figure 4 on the floor but Page fights out. Moxley attacks Page with a chair and puts him ankle in a steel chair, but referee Paul Turner prevents Moxley from jumping off the apron, allowing Page to throw the chair and connect with Moxley's face. Snap suplex on the chair by Page and the bell still hasn't rung, so this is all legal. Both men roll in the ring and the match officially is underway. Pair of elbows and a leg lace by Moxley, but Page gets to the ropes. German suplex by Page, who now focuses his attack on the cut above Moxley's eye. Both men trade some heavy shots in the center, but Page catches a crossbody block from Moxley and connects with a fall-away slam. Moxley rolls to the apron and just clubs a charging Page in the face. Rear naked choke by Moxley, locked in now on the apron, before transitioning into a bulldog choke. Pile driver attempt by Moxley, but Page tries to counter with the dead eye as both men go back and forth. Page finally gets Moxley in a fireman's carry and drops him face first on the top turnbuckle. Moxley catches Page heading up to the top rope and rakes the back, but Page bites Moxley's face, regains control, and connects with a big avalanche Death Valley driver. 1, 2, no. Moxley is on his feet as Page tries to boot him in the face and does, but, ever defiant Moxley flips Page off and hits a diving ace crusher. Both men are exchanging some heavy leather in the center on the ring, but Moxley implementing some kicks into his game now. Moxley with a rear naked choke, but Page hits a Saito suplex. Moxley rolls through and hits Page with one of his own. Front chancery suplex off the top by Moxley gets another 2 count. Wrists trapped here and Moxley is stomping on the face of Page. Death Rider is blocked, so Moxley transitions to a rolling straight arm bar, but Page is at the ropes. Page elevates Moxley up and over the top to the outside and comes off the top with a moonsault, but Moxley sidesteps. Lariat. Moxley clears the announcer's table and looks for the powerbomb, but Page fights out. Both men trade clotheslines and Page hits a pop-up powerbomb on Moxley through the table. Moxley barely makes it in before the 10 count, but runs right into a big lariat by Page. Deadly eye. 1, 2, no. Page looks for the stomp, but Moxley moves and it's the King Kong lariat. Page is having trouble getting back to his feet, but Moxley is measuring him with elbows. Page is returning with some huge shots before hitting a super kick. Small package driver by Page. 2 count. Buckshot is countered by Moxley, but Page counters into the tombstone. Buckshot. Moxley kicks out. Bulldog choke by Page, but Moxley is getting to his feet. Moxley rolls Page over his shoulder, traps the arm, and gets the 3 count. Winner, Jon Moxley. Rating, 1/4. Let these two men fight until the dawn of time. Outstanding match, hard-hitting, real, filled with the thing that pro wrestling seems to be missing lately, the struggle. This whole match felt like a struggle between two guys who wanted to beat the heck out of each other. Great stuff. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta hit the ring as Page is upset and gives them the finger. Moxley wants to keep fighting and Page is obviously upset. The Butcher, Blade, and Bunny are here with Renee and Jamie Hayter. The Bunny wants a match with Jamie Hayter. Breaking news. Sarah and Tony Storm are shown on the monitor beating up Britt Baker in the parking lot. Match number 2. The Acclaimed vs Bootleg Beverly Brothers. The Enhancement fellas don't have names it seems like, but they do have a great scissor. Body slam by Caster. Scissor me, timbers by the Acclaimed. Billy Gunn is in the ring now and it's a three-way scissor party in the center of the ring. The arrival by Bowens and the mic drop finishes this one. Winners, the Acclaimed. Rating, NR. The Guns are here and they want a shot at the title, and an answer. Immediately. The Acclaimed ask the people what they want. Ohio says the Ass Boys do not deserve a shot at the tag team titles. Daddy Ass has said he's had enough of this and walks out. Ass Boys tell Daddy Ass to go do what he used to do and drown his sorrows in the bottom of a pill bottle. Stiff. Daddy Ass wants to know if the Ass Boys have what it takes. Next week, they get the tag team title shot and the Acclaimed look perplexed. Alex Marvez is with Jungle Boy, who says 2023 he's going solo. No more tag teams. Alright then. Match number 3. Konosuke Takeshita vs Brian Cage. Rolling elbow and a flying Takeshita line send Cage to the apron. Big boot by Takeshita and a flying plunger to the outside. Cage grabs Takeshita's leg and hits a buckle bomb into the ring post on the outside. Cage looks for another buckle bomb inside the ring but Takeshita fights out with some huge elbows. Cage fights off a back suplex attempt and hits a big knee lift before charging Takeshita but getting caught in the Blue Thunder Bomb. 2 count. Takeshita misses a flying knee in the corner before landing on the apron and getting brought into the ring with a deadlift vertical suplex. 619 by Cage. Running back elbow in the corner and a big release German suplex and Takeshita landed hard. Takeshita Hurricane runners himself out of a powerbomb attempt and comes off the top with a dropkick. Lariat by Takeshita and a bridging German suplex for 2. Takeshita charges with a rising knee but Cage catches him and hits a buckle bomb. Powerbomb attempt by Cage but Takeshita reverses into a Liger bomb for 2. Rolling lariat by Cage is ducked but Takeshita connects with a rolling elbow. Backdrop driver by Cage. Rolling lariat. 2 count. Drill claw by Cage is countered into a sheer drop brainbuster. A second brainbuster. 2 count. Cage fights Takeshita off and flattens him with an F5. Cage set Takeshita up on the top rope but Takeshita fights back with an avalanche brainbuster. Rising knee. 1, 2, 3. Winner, Konosuke Takeshita. Rating. Wow. Just an absolute slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say. These two men delivered, and Cage is putting together some of the best work of his career in just a 7-day span. Takeshita is absolutely the future and it's good to see you stacking the wins. The Elite are here and challenge Top Flight and R Fox to a 6-man tag next week. Enter the Firm. Ethan Page challenges the Elite to a 6-man tag on Rampage, and they accept. Match number 4. Bryan Danielson vs Timothy Thatcher. Thatch point, clap clap, Thatch point, clap clap. Thatcher dives for the Fujiwara armbar quick but Danielson gets to the ropes. Thatcher drives his knee into the injured arm of Danielson before locking in a double wrist lock. Danielson gets to the ropes and connects with a flurry of strikes before dropping Thatcher to the mat with a dragon screw leg whip. Romero stretch by Danielson but Thatcher breaks the grip with a finger lock. Thatcher drives some more knees to the spine of Danielson but Danielson fights back with some round kicks in the corner. Running dropkick in the corner by Danielson but Thatcher snaps Danielson to the mat with an arm wringer. Kimura by Thatcher again, who lifts Danielson off the ground with his grip. Thatcher inside control now, but Danielson hip escapes to the ropes. Thatcher focuses his attack on the injured arm, dropping ground and pound from the top. Single arm DDT by Thatcher, but Danielson grabs a hold of wrist and quickly locks in the label lock. Thatcher gets to the ropes very fast and continues the work on the arm. Uppercuts by Thatcher here as Thatcher sets Danielson up on the top rope, looking for a butterfly suplex off the top. Danielson headbutts Thatcher, but Thatcher is back up, but another headbutt drops him. Missile dropkick off the top by Danielson. European uppercuts by Thatcher, but Danielson responds with round kicks, dropping Thatcher to his knees. Thatcher blocks a head kick and tries for the Fujiwara, but Danielson rolls through and lands the head kick. Hammer and anvil elbows now by Danielson, now looking to lock in a rear naked choke. Thatcher gets to his feet and backs him into the corner, squashing the referee in the process. Back suplex by Thatcher, and here comes MJF with the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but Konosuke Takeshita makes the save from the crowd. Thatcher snaps Danielson down and locks in the Fujiwara. Danielson is in a bad position here as the referee finally gets up just in time to see Danielson grab the ropes. Thatcher delivering some elbows to the injured elbow and plants Danielson with a belly-to-belly suplex. Danielson hits the switch and lands a release German suplex. Thatcher evades a charging Danielson, but Danielson rebounds with the Psycho knee. Winner, Bryan Danielson. Rating, 1/2. Remember what I said about the struggle regarding the Moxley and Hangman match? This was different than anything we've seen tonight, and similar to what you would see on a Josh Barnett's Bloodsport card. I understand this style might not be for everyone, but I love the throwback feel of a guy like Timothy Thatcher, and Danielson winning with the Psycho knee instead of a submission was a great strategy. MJF and Takeshita are shown brawling in the back. Security and the referees finally get there to break it up. Renee is here to announce that next week on Dynamite, Takeshita will take on MJF in a new world title eliminator. Rush is the next challenger for the Bryan Danielson gauntlet, and he's here with Preston Vance and Lexi Nia. MJF barges in with a suitcase full of money and says the first one's on the house, and there are 5 more if he ends Danielson next week. Match number 5. UTBS title, Jade Cargill, C, versus Jade Cargill W/Layla Gray. Velvet attacks early and sidesteps a charging Cargill, sending her to the outside. Baseball slide by Velvet, who delivers a few chops on the guardrail and rolls Cargill back inside. Velvet tries a Cazadora, but Cargill reverses it into a wheelbarrow suplex for 2. Big jumping elbow drop by Cargill gets another 2. Velvet tries a crossbody block off the apron, but Cargill catches her, muscles her up into a military press, and then walks up the ring steps with Red Velvet in military press. Wow! Cargill deposits Velvet on the top turnbuckle. Hip toss by Cargill. Cargill misses a charge and Velvet responds with a code breaker. Velvet charges again and Cargill hits a pump kick for a 2 count. Kiera Hogan sends Layla Gray into the steel steps on the outside, allowing Velvet to hit the tornado kick. Velvet tries an omoplata, but Cargill picks her up like a powerbomb, switches positions in midair, and it's Jaded for the finish. Winner and still UTBS champion, Jade Cargill. Rating, 1/4. Good win here for Cargill, but I don't think I ever need to see her versus Red Velvet ever again. Cargill is impressing me more and more every week, with some unbelievable feats of strength in the ring. Renee is here with Dr. Britt Baker DMD for a medical update. Ruby Soho is here to check on Baker, who says these are your girls. Soho says she doesn't get down like that but wanted to check on Baker. Match number 6. No holds barred for the UTNT title, Darby Allin, C, versus Samoa Joe. Darby had a hoodie with tacks glued to it and charges Joe a bunch. My internet goes out momentarily and Samoa Joe looks to pull out a table under the ring, but Darby Allin darts himself into it. Darby sets up the stairs on the outside and Joe whips Darby, who flips over the table and lands on the guardrail and then face first in the crowd. Both men head into the crowd as Joe slams Darby on the cement stairs. Joe hip tosses Darby over the guardrail onto the floor in the ring area and proceeds to body slam Darby on the top of the steel steps. Penalty kick by Joe and a diving elbow drop. Joe looks to twist Darby's head off of his shoulders, but Darby fights back with some palm strikes. Darby charges Joe in the corner and it's the St. Joe. 2 count. Joe grabs another table from underneath the ring and places it across the guardrail. Joe looks for a choke, but Darby connects with a jawbreaker and lights Joe up with chops in the corner. Joe has had enough and just launches Darby over the top rope to the floor. Brainbuster by Joe, who doesn't attempt to cover and decides to grab some chairs and throw them in the ring. Joe sets up the chairs in the ring, back to back, and back suplexes Darby on the spine of the chairs. Wow! Joe now turns the chairs around and looks for the powerbomb, but Darby throws powder in Joe's eyes, reverses into the code red. 2 count. Over the top stunner by Darby. Darby hangs the hoodie with the thumbtacks over himself and goes up to the top. Coffin drop. 1, 2, no. Darby grabs a knife and looks to cut the mat apart from the floorboards. Half of the ring has 0 padding, with only the wood boards showing. On the other side of the ring, Darby attempts a suicide dive and misses as Darby goes crashing through the table on the outside. Powerbomb by Joe on the thumbtack hoodie. Joe looks to smother Joe in the hoodie, but Darby digs his fingers into Joe's eyes, breaking the grip. Darby now beats Joe with chairs and heads up top for the coffin drop on Joe, on the exposed wood. Joe shoves the referee into the corner, which crotches Darby. Joe follows Darby up. Avalanche muscle buster onto the exposed wood. Holy yes. That does it. Winner and new UTNT champion, Samoa Joe. Rating. Bloody, brutal, wild brawl that was different than anything else on the show. Seems like you're giving Darby the title was to make the hometown fans happy before going right back to Joe, and that's okay. Darby is on another level of I don't care about my own well-being and I don't know how long it can possibly last. Some of these bumps legitimately had me turning away from the TV, but it was great television. Joe can absolutely still go, and I'll be interested to see who's next for these guys. Wardlow is here. Fans are pumped for this as Wardlow hits the ring and double legs Joe. Powerbomb symphony to Joe, but Joe bails. Wardlow stands tall as security hits the ring. Wardlow dispatches of security and Joe is already in the back. Final thoughts: absolutely outstanding episode of Dynamite. I feel like I blinked and it was 9:30. Dynamite continues their trend of opening up and closing the show with great pro wrestling matches, and everything in between flows perfectly. The MJF/Danielson/Takeshita story has me intrigued, and I'd assume it ends with Takeshita joining the BCC. Moxley and Page, despite being the rubber match of their feud, does not seem like it is over yet, and I am beyond okay with that. I'm still not invested in the Guns stuff just yet, but they're pulling me in. Great to see Wardlow back, and will be interesting to see if he can regain the momentum he had last year. So much on this show, and the pacing was perfect. 9.25